Hey everybody, welcome back to BetMeADate. Today I'm going to be talking about control in relationships and dating. Subscribe to our channel for more tips on dating for introverts every Sunday and Thursday at 6 p.m. I'm Dr. Aviva Gaskill. I'm a psychologist who's helped dozens of patients overcome dating challenges. So as I said, today I'm going to be talking about control in dating relationships, when you have it, when you don't, what it looks like, what it feels like, and different ways that it can affect you. So there's something that we call locus of control in the therapy world, and you can have an internal locus of control or, some of the things that happen within you, and an external locus of control, things that happen outside of your control. So internal control is when I feel like I have control over things in the situation, aspects in the situation. External locus of control is when I feel like something else, some outside force, has control over what happens in the situation. So, one thing that's really important here, and particularly when it comes to dating, is that when we are feeling down, depressed, in the dumps, but also even sometimes when we're feeling really anxious, we have this feeling that things that are negative in our lives are our fault, that we assign an internal locus of control to them. So, when something goes wrong, it must be my fault. Likewise, when we're depressed and anxious, we can have an overestimation of when positive things happen, we think they have nothing or very little to do with us. So when we're feeling really depressed and we're feeling really anxious, the good things that happen in our lives, we think, oh, that just happened. That had nothing to do with the actions that I took or the things that I did. So in dating, when we're depressed and we're anxious, or even if we're just like in a bad headspace or we're feeling overwhelmed or we're really stressed out, we can have this feeling that, it must be because I screwed up that this person is not interested in me anymore, or that that's why the relationship didn't work. So what happens is when it comes to this question of, is it something I did or is it this person? Like, is it me or is it them? We can over assign negative things happening and the reason the relationship didn't work out to ourselves. We feel like it's our fault. And by the way, this doesn't have to be in a relationship. It could just be with someone that you're flirting with. You can feel like, oh, it's my fault that that didn't work out, that this person stopped flirting with me. And that can put you in a really dangerous territory or dangerous headspace because you really don't know why that person stopped flirting with you. Maybe they stopped flirting with you because they have an ongoing partner. Maybe they stopped flirting with you because they were at work and they needed to get back to work. But you can have a negative feeling about, like that it must be your fault. So it's possible that maybe you were giving off some weird or awkward vibes, or maybe you weren't being your most authentic self in that experience of flirting with this person. But the reality is you don't know. It could be that the other person just feels like it wasn't a good fit for them. So the question is, does that mean that there's something wrong with us because the other person walked away? And the answer is no. Ultimately, the reality is that it probably has a little bit to do with you and a little bit to do with them. But overestimating our power in a flirtation or in a dating dynamic can give us this feeling like it's our fault. We can have a tendency to steamroll ourselves. We can have a tendency to lose confidence even more. And that is really challenging because that makes us unsexy to date. Not having confidence is a particularly unattractive trait to most people. But when we get into the headspace that, in fact, this person, being attracted to us or not, probably has a little bit more to do with them than it does with us, or it could have equally the amount to do with them as it does with us, it can put us in a more general, open, and understanding headspace and really give us an opportunity to look at things that we may have messed up, but also, realize that maybe this person, it just didn't feel like it was a good fit, or they just weren't that into you, or there were other factors at play here. And it also helps us to take the pressure off of ourselves. And I think the reality is that in dating, you want to be your most authentic self. You want to take that pressure off of yourself. And so, kind of cooling down the situation, recognizing, some of this stuff I had control over, some of it I didn't, some of it this person may have told me what was going on in their head, and I certainly knew what was going on in my head. Some of it I may not have. Is really important to remember, because it takes pressure off of you and it helps you to show up to the next date or the next flirtation or the next encounter as your most authentic self. So I hope that these tips were helpful, and I hope that it helps you think a little bit about locus of control, where you're coming from. Again, if you're depressed or anxious, or if you're just really stressed out, sometimes you can get into a really negative headspace and it can really affect your dating. I know that may have been like a little bit kind of more information about like what the other person is thinking and sort of getting a little heady here, but I hope this video was helpful. Please comment, share the video if you are cool with that, subscribe. We'd love to hear more from you. And don't forget to check us out on BetMeADate.com.